So in this video, we're going to talk about the code splitting technique in React. So this is the technique mainly used to improve the performance of the React application. So here we break down a larger JavaScript bundle into smaller chunks, and this way we can reduce the initial load time of the application because we are splitting them into smaller pieces and we load them whenever required. So React uses the Webpack behind the scene to split the code into these smaller chunks. So here we have one simple React application where we have this counter component and the user list component. So the counter component simply increase or decrease the count, and the user list component fetches the data from the API. So whenever we reload the component, it takes some time to load because of this API call. Now here we can use the code splitting technique and we can improve the load time of our application. So let's see how we can do that. So here, instead of rendering this user list on load of our application, we're gonna dynamically render that on click of a button. So here we're gonna remove this and instead we're gonna use one button, and on click of the button we're gonna load the user list. On click of that button we're gonna call the handle click function. So here we're gonna define the handle click. So here inside we're gonna simply import the component dynamically. So here we're gonna import the component. So we're gonna import from this directory. So let's just copy this. Now because this will be one asynchronous operation, so we're gonna make the function one asynchronous function. Now this import will return one object. So here we're gonna destructure this. So we're gonna destructure the default import and we're gonna rename the default import. We're gonna call this imported user list. Now to locally store the imported component, we need to create one state. So for this we're gonna use the use state hook, which will be initially null. So locally we're gonna have the user list and set user list. So whenever we have this imported component, we're gonna set the user list with the imported user list. So here we're just dynamically importing the component and then we're storing that in the local state. Now because we have the component in the local state, we can render this right here. So here whenever we have the user list component, then we're gonna render the component. So now if we refresh, you can see our application loads very fast because this time we do not have much of the burden of calling the API and loading the user, because here we have used the code splitting technique. Now whenever we need the user list, we can simply click on this button and we can load the user list whenever required. So with this technique, our application is a lot more optimized and our application loads very faster. So this is the way we can use the code splitting technique and we can improve the load time of our React application. So hope you understand the concept. See you in the next one. Take care.